Ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the infamous Vixen sew-in from start to finish. So let's jump right into it. So starting off with my client's hair, it has been deep conditioned and moisturized, and she just has 3 bundles of virgin hair. I believe her lengths were 24, 26, and 28. I don't recommend going that long for this type of sew-in, but we were working with what we had at the moment. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and find the middle of her head. We're going to part the hair down the middle both ways. And if you're like me with a widow's peak, finding the middle can be really hard. But just take your time with this part, because parting is definitely everything when it comes to this type of sewing. Alright, so now that you have that main middle part, what you're going to do is add maybe about like a centimeter or 2 of space on the outside of each side of the part. I know that sounds confusing, but if you across the head, just making sure that there's even parting in the front and the back of the head, making sure that part is nice and straight. Then we're going to section off our 4 sections and start pulling out that leave out hair, which again was about a centimeter or 2 of hair on either side of the part. And again, what this leave out hair is going to do is cover up our tracks, so that way she can wear her hair in a half up, half down type of ponytail, or in 2 ponytails. Now, just a little bit of information on the Vixen sew-in if you guys aren't familiar. This particular sew-in, we used, I think, about 2.5 bundles. I would say that 2 to 3 bundles is ideal for a Vixen sew-in. You don't want it to be too bulky. You want the hair to lay nice and flat. So I would definitely say don't try to bulk up on the weave. And then also you want to keep the lengths reasonable. I don't think that anything over 22 inches is ideal for a Vixen sew-in, just because the longer the lengths, the less volume you get on the actual, in the actual bundle. So just keep that in mind when picking your lengths. And again, we're just braiding this hair to put it out of the way. Now that we have our 4 individual sections, it is time to start braiding each section into its own little individual beehive. So I just sectioned off a little bit of hair in the front to kind of cover up the tracks once we're done, so she can put it up in a ponytail. And I'm going to part starting in a circular motion just to make that little beehive braid. And if you guys aren't familiar with what a beehive braid is, pretty much is just one braid that goes into a circle. It is very small, and you're left with one end. Like instead of having a whole bunch of cornrows where you have like a bunch of braids to kind of tuck under, a beehive braid is just one continuous braid. Thumbs up this video if you guys want some type of tutorial on how to cornrow. I do know that a couple of you have mentioned that I make it look so easy. Cornrolling hair is actually really easy, or you know, some people say braids attached to the head or whatever, but it is really easy. So this would be a style that's a little bit more advanced for people who are already familiar with how to cornrow. But if you guys do want a video on that, on how to just do a basic cornrow, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up, comment below. And then you see I did the other two in the front. Now I just have to finish this one right here in the back. And I'm going to do that and come back and show you guys what it looks like. See, every section is braided into a circle, and there is only one braid left to kind of tuck in there as opposed to a whole bunch of little braids. So now that each of my sections are individually beehived or braided up, for my braiding pattern, I'm going to go ahead and take my curved needle, and I just threaded it with some black sewing thread. And I'm going to go ahead and sew down the end of that braid. This helps me to avoid using rubber bands and things that might like break off my hair or snag my ends, because we all know that the ends are the oldest part of the hair, so you want to take care of them. I also like this braiding pattern because it allows me to kind of discreetly tuck in the ends. I just kind of laid it in between the parts and it looks really nice and flat when you're done sewing. So that's one section. I'm going to do each individual section and then just tie and secure the thread. And once each section is done, I am taking this weaving net. I will post a link down below for you guys, and I'm just gonna sew the perimeter of that net to each individual section, avoiding that leave out, those leave out braids. And what that's going to do is make the install nice and streamlined. Now I'm going to take the bundle of hair, starting with the longest bundle first, and I am going to lay that flat, sewing the first track under my first braid. And this is what it looks like once I have the back done. I'm so sorry, it was so hard to kind of film and sew at the same time, so I didn't get any footage of me actually sewing the hair down, but this is what it looks like once those sections were done. And I did cut my wefts when doing this sew-in just because I wanted to literally lay them right on top of each other and sew them down as close as possible. And I'm just motioning how I kind of sewed them in for you. I sew the first one under the braid and then just kind of stack them going towards the part. So now that each section is sewn down, and this is just my last section right here, you guys see I sewed that first track down and I cut it. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and fill everything else in. Now you see each section is sewn in. I think that we used about 2.5 bundles for this, but you can see everything looks nice and flat. And once we take out these leave out braids and flatten everything with a flat iron, it's gonna look really, really natural and she'll be able to style it so many different ways. Now we were on kind of a time crunch. Here is what the install looked like after we went ahead and flat ironed her real hair. And it looks just like a normal sew-in. Granted, I don't think it has as much volume as a normal sew-in would, and I think that's because of two factors. One, obviously because there is a lot more leave out in a Vixen sew-in than a regular sew-in, and then also because the length that she got was so long, it was very, you know, it wasn't as much volume as I would have liked it to be personally if it was my hair. But we did go ahead and put some wand curls in her hair. We were on a crunch time, so we did not get a chance to take a bunch of pictures like I had hoped for. But this is what the completed Vixen sew-in looked like. And this is my little cousin, by the way. She absolutely loved it. Super, super easy. I hope that you guys learned a little bit today. I'm so sorry it took a lot of work trying to film this, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And until my next video, talk to you guys later. Bye.